Greetings from Ogunquit, Maine. It's 10:35 on a Friday night,
And we're still up.
and we are in our hotel room recording our last podcast from Maine. It's been a fun couple of days.
Yes, I am sad to leave Maine. I'm ready to start heading toward home, but still, Maine has been a wonderful vacation spot.
Truly. So let's catch our friends up on what we've done for the last couple of days. Thursday started with a trip to Nubble Lighthouse. We were so excited to go see a lighthouse.
Yeah.
And what did we discover when we got there?
Well, we just kind of flew past Portland, where there's another famous Maine lighthouse, because we're like, we'll just, see the one, we'll see the Nubble. So when we got to the Nubble, it was under repair and all not boarded up, but it had scaffolding and you couldn't see it.
No.
No, you couldn't.
So it was a very short trip to the Nubble Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Then we turned around and went up to Kennebunkport and did some exploring there.
Is that where we went when we saw the lighthouse at Goat Island? Is that Kennebunkport? I'm so confused now. We've been so many places here.
Yes, I believe that was the one, because how could we not go to Goat Island?
Jeez. You really had to work that one in, didn't you?
I did. I don't even believe there were any goats on Goat Island.
Not that you could see from afar.
And while in Kennebunkport, we did have to walk around and visit some of the shops, and we did find some treasures.
I think we found treasures every single place that we have been on this vacation, based on how full, suitcases are. As a matter of fact, I think we had to buy another suitcase, and it has all sorts of treasures in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite treasures that we found, though, was the picture of the 3 Airedales.
Yes. And it has a lobster in it, and it says Kennebunkport, however you say that. I don't know why Maine has so many cities that are so very difficult for me to pronounce. However, we hit another spot today, which we had to Google search how to pronounce it.
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
It's because we're from Indiana.
We have easy cities.
But what I love about the Airedale picture is I think it's going to look lovely in the kitchen next to the other piece of fine artwork that we bought when we were in Hawaii, that is a picture of a rooster in a bow tie drinking a Mai Tai.
Yeah, it's going to fit right in there. I swear, if a decorator or an interior designer or someone with taste came to our house,
they would be horrified.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then we came back and actually did some exploring around Ogunquit. And fortunately, you being the mayor of pretty much any place you are, you chatted up the lady in the paid parking lot.
The parking lot, yeah. Yeah, she told us some good stores to go to. So, time for a big shout out.
Yes.
To our favorite store and our favorite guy. And now I can't think of his name. Bruce.
No.
Bruce?
No.
Bruce.
No.
Oh.
I don't think it was Bruce.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, the name of the store.
The name of the store is Spoiled Rotten.
And they had some of the most delicious dips and crackers and drink mixes, which might have found their way home with us.
Oh, yeah. That was super tasty.
Yeah, that was a fun place, and they were very nice in there.
Yes, they were. So that I'm going to say that is our favorite store here.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that's our favorite store here.
And it's a little bit off the beaten path, like off of kind of the main street.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in Ogunquit, make sure you look up Spoiled Rotten, because they are awesome. And would you like to tell our friends how we spent Thursday evening?
Well, I don't want anybody to be jealous. We were very excited to find a laundromat right across the parking lot from our sidebar for a second. Pretty nice hotel. We had the whole snafu of someone possibly booking the wrong hotel and me being a little snarky about it. And I have to admit that while the location is not completely central to some of the things that we've done, it actually has been a very good place to stay the last few nights.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Give you credit where credit is due. But anyway, back to the laundromat. We hightailed it across the parking lot with our dirty laundry, and conveniently located right next to this laundromat was a pizza place. Mm-hmm. So we had pizza and did laundry last night. That was pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, and then I watched Murphy Brown, and I think you had fallen asleep by that point.
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say I never watched Murphy Brown when it was on the first time, and I know you can't believe that, so I had to ask you even what it was about.
So that was the big Thursday night.
Yep.
Saving up our energy for a big Friday. Today was full of adventure.
Every day is full of adventure. Today certainly was one of those, because we ventured south toward Kittery. Mm-hmm. Kittery, Maine, and then we went across the river to...
Oh, but before we cross the river, let's talk about...
the Kittery trading post place.
Yes.
Man, we thought LL Bean was something, and big. This place, I got quite turned around in it. I managed to find the bathroom, thank God. I started looking for it before I had to go because it took that long to get there. What a cool place. Everything for the outdoor enthusiasts that you could possibly hope for. Camping, kayaking, backpacking, clothing. Oh my gosh, everything.
Yeah, if you can't find it there, it doesn't exist
belong.
or you don't need it.
Yep.
And then on the way out, as we were driving around the parking lot, we noticed that they had a tent sale. So we had to park the car again and then go check the tent.
Because we hadn't spent enough money already in normally priced items.
So back in we went for the tent sale. But I think the most surprising delight of our stop there was the food stand. I had the most tasty cheeseburger.
Yes, I had a hamburger because, I don't like cheese on my sandwiches. I'm odd. And, I was a little hesitant because when we were walking over toward the tent sale, there was a bad aroma happening because they also had some live lobsters there too. And so I wasn't quite sure what those burgers would be like, but they were pretty good.
Yeah, super tasty.
Yeah.
So then after we exhausted ourselves at the Kittery Trading Post, then we headed down to Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
You said that very well. I still want to pronounce it like it looks. I want to call it Portsmouth. I know I'm going to screw it up every time I say it. Portsmouth. Ooh, I did it.
Nice work, Beth Kendig. You sound so seasoned and professional.
What a cool town that was. Yes. You could just really, I think, feel the history of it as you walk down the brick sidewalks, the back alleys. We saw that one, I think it was some kind of pub. I don't even know if it was open, but the doors, I swear the doors had to be from the 1800s. I mean, they just looked that weathered and that original. We looked at some lobster boats, and it was just, to me, your quintessential Eastern Seaboard town. It was cool.
It was. And fortunately for me, we had to immediately find a restroom when we got there, which meant we either had to walk a long way to the public restroom, or I could have my choice of coffee or beer so that we could go into a place. So we picked the Portsmouth Brewery because we had just happened to park right in front of it. And I have to say, their beer was pretty tasty there.
So friends, here's a Beth travel tip for you. I go to the bathroom a lot. If you have the bladder that is the same size as mine, which is probably that of I don't know, something very minuscule, just don't drink a lot of liquids when you're in a town that doesn't really have public restrooms. Some places you go that are touristy towns and they're like big signs with public restrooms here, there, and everywhere. Portsmouth, not so much. They had no signs for public restrooms. So yeah, you got a beer because I had to pee.
And they had probably the coolest bathroom doors. Yes. I don't even know what they were made out of, but they were round and
half a barrel, but it was a huge, I don't know. It had to be something nautical. I just couldn't figure out what it was, but those were cool doors.
Yeah, so if you happen to find yourself in Portsmouth, check out Portsmouth Brewery.
And their wine wasn't too bad either.
And the food looked pretty good too.
Yes, it did.
Let's talk about our proper Friday night date night.
Yes, we did have a big old proper Friday night date night.
We've kind of been talking about this activity since we first pulled into town and saw that this was an option. Beth, tell our friends.
You're framing that up really well, dear. So there is a theater here that is, what's it? I can't remember what it's called.
Levitt, Leave It, Levitt.
Love it and leave it.
I don't know, something like that.
Levitt, I think, is the name of the place. But it's an old theater. And I got to chatting with a guy there tonight who said it's actually haunted. It was built in 1923. And it was right next door to, well, there's 2 restaurants on either side of it. And in this one restaurant, apparently a gentleman was killed. And he is the one who haunts the theater, is the story I heard. But yes, our proper date night included dinner and a movie at the theater. And I can see why you did not attend this movie in the theater when it first came out, because you were 6 years old. I, on the other hand, was 16, but I had never seen it in the theater either. So we were pretty excited to go see this particular movie on the big screen.
And what did we go see? Dun,
Dun 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 dun. Jaws.
It was incredible seeing that on a big screen. Just, it felt scarier.
You jumped, I don't know how many times.
And I don't know that I had ever seen it all, like in one sitting, its entirety in one sitting.
I think I've asked you that when it's been on TV, and the parts that I remember the most are the very ending parts, like the whole kind of lead up and beginning of it. I don't really remember much of that at all. So yeah, I think you and I were seeing it together for the first time in its entirety.
It's even better. Like, if you get the opportunity to go see it in a theater, go do it.
I think those retro theaters are really cool. And I wish that there'd be more of that, instead of tearing them down or turning them into something else. I mean, they were the old theater seats too, which, gotta say, not too comfortable for me because my knees were touching my chin because there's no room in the row ahead of you. So, but it was, the ambiance was cool.
It was. And then, rather than go out. Oh, no, then we wrapped it up with Ben & Jerry's ice cream because they were still open.
Yes, and I was offended because I ordered vanilla, which, that's like beige is my favorite color. I think vanilla is my favorite flavor ice cream. The man gave it to me. I only wanted 1 scoop. I mean, it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, 1 scoop and a waffle cone. And when he handed it to me, he said, here's your child's cone or your kid's cone or whatever. And I'm like, listen, dude, I'm 57 years old. I can order whatever I want to in an ice cream cone. But then he handed yours to you and said the same thing. Although you didn't have vanilla. You're a little more racy than I am with your ice cream.
Yes, with my chocolate chip cookie dough.
That's what you had. Yep.
So it was a big Friday night out. And rather than go to the dueling drag queen show, which I'm sure was fabulous.
Well, we had 2 or 3 people tell us about this gay bar here called Main Street and how funny the dueling drag show is. And, it did start kind of in our time frame of 9:30. We walked out of the movie about 9:15 and we just kind of looked at each other. And I was just hoping you would say you didn't want to go. But, that would be a fun thing to do, I think.
Yes, but instead we came home and recorded a podcast.
Well,
and packed.
I was going to say, me, we're hitting the road tomorrow, so I've got things lined up by the door.
You've created a lovely staging area.
Well, I don't want to forget anything, and I just want to be ready to roll.
And we'll be heading out early tomorrow morning.
Are we going to tell them where we're going to go?
Let's just say that we are going to visit one more national park on the way home.
Should we tell them what state? Give them a hint?
I don't think so.
I think people would figure it out.
I think that if they don't want to wait until the final podcast from this trip, they can connect with me on Instagram at BrassyBroadGen and get a sneak preview of where we are headed.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Beth Kindig.
Thanks for listening. Now get out in the world and do some exploring.